tree pose for prenatal friends. This one is very good for pelvic stability and glute strength and balance, which are all quite important for carrying our pregnancy without putting additional strain on the back, the pelvic floor, and sort of worsening the core muscle laxity that's going to happen by the end of your pregnancy. It is sometimes possible to help pubic symphysis pain with this pose, but it can also exacerbate it. So the reason it helps is that it will stabilize the pelvic muscles and strengthen the glutes, the hip rotators and the adductor muscles, which all helps with stability for that pelvis, which is what we want, but it is an asymmetrical movement and you'll take weight onto one leg. So see how you go if you do have pubic symphysis pain. So that's the pain down the midline at the front. If it does make it worse, come out and I'll give you another option. So that will use a block, but if you don't have a block, you could find a brick or a paver or a step or anything else that's not too high off the ground that you can step onto safely. Or you can always use a wall to support you to try to keep the weight more even. Just leaning your back against a wall may give enough support. See how you go. So for our balance poses, we always start by grounding down into both feet, 4 corners of each foot, base of the big toe, base of the little toe, 2 outside corners of the heels. And then once we feel nice and grounded and stable there, and maybe we've tucked our pelvis a little, maybe we've lifted and lengthened through the spine and brought our shoulders back down and together, and that makes sure that our posture is well aligned, ready to move. Then we'll take the weight onto the right leg first and just kickstand the left heel against the right leg to start. This may very well be the extent of your tree pose, and you're going to, no matter what, whether you're going in further or not, you're going to fix your gaze on a non-moving spot in front of you. See how I've already got the wobbles? Fixing the gaze on something that's not moving just really helps you out with your balance a lot. So find a spot on the floor or the wall just a couple of meters in front of you, make sure it's not moving, and just keep your balance here and practice this sensation of drawing everything in towards the midline, especially those adductors, the inner thigh muscles there. This is very important for our stability in pregnancy and in postnatal recovery. Now, if you'd like to, and you feel quite balanced and steady, and remember you can have a wall or even a chair to hold on to, something for support to make sure you're not going to fall, you can lift that left leg up to either the inside of the right calf muscle or the inside of the right thigh. And you can use the hand to help you to get it there. And this is where you start to get that asymmetry of the pelvis that may exacerbate that pubic symphysis pain. So if you're already feeling it, let's come back out and I'll give you another option shortly. But if you're okay here, or you can try just bringing that left knee in a little bit closer to the midline, just so you're getting less of that shear force trying to separate the two halves of the pelvis. See how that feels. Come out if you're not comfortable with this. And then if you're steady here, you can either keep your hands on your hips or you can inhale them up overhead into the full expression of tree pose. And once again, balance is really important whether we're pregnant or not, but especially in pregnancy, we can develop our strength in our standing leg and get a good sense of how our center of gravity is moving as our bump grows in this pose. Now I'm going to come out. You can stay a little longer if you're comfortable. I'm just going to give our SPD friends a little alternative option. So if you've got something to stand up on, stand both feet on it to start with, if you can, comfortably and safely. And then we're just going to bring the left foot off it so that we've got that sensation of balancing, but we're able to keep both hips in the same plane. So even put your hands on your hips to keep you nice and stable here. And just that bit of a balance and that bit of having to work to hold that left leg up in place there is going to work that glute medius as well without that shear force on the pelvis. So this might very well suit you better if you are suffering from pubic symphysis dysfunction. And you can always play here with moving that leg backwards and forwards a little while keeping all the muscles, particularly those inner thighs, drawing towards the midline without actually moving them there. And you'll probably start to feel it in that glute medius quite quickly, especially if it is that little bit weaker and needs a bit of strength to help support your pelvis as you move forward. So there's your couple of balance options. Everybody who was in tree pose, just lower the arms, maybe pop them on the hips, and you can come out of the pose gently, just sliding that left leg back down, bringing the knee in front of you as soon as it can clear your bump and not compress bump at all. And then just sort of shaking it out a little, as much as you can jiggle with a potentially sizable bump. Now when you're ready, we're going to do it on the other side to even us up. Remember that focal point that's not moving in front of you. This time we're taking the weight onto the left leg. Make sure you're grounding down through all four corners of the foot, and then kickstand that right heel against the left leg. And once again, you can stay here, and this can be your balancing pose, or you can start to move that foot up the leg onto the calf or onto the inner thigh. Just make sure that you're not putting the weight onto that left knee, because you can strain the joint. Remember that you could have the option to just bring that right knee in slightly. As long as it's not compressing bump, it could come in a little to reduce that sensation of the two halves of the pelvis separating. And once you've got your balance, you can always keep your hands on your hips, or you can inhale them up overhead, sort of like the branches of a tree, making sure the shoulders are back down and together, away from the ears. And just enjoy the peace and serenity of being a tree for a moment. Or remember our other option, if that one's not for you, up onto your block or step or brick or whatever you've got handy, both feet on to start with, and then when you're ready, placing the right leg out into the air but acting as though the step is still under it, to keep a nice bit of engagement around all those muscles that are stabilizing your pelvis there. Option to rock that foot back and forwards a little for extra strength to the glute medius if you'd like, just as long as it's not causing any pain. And then when you're ready, if you are in tree pose, remember to bring those arms back down to the hips. Start to slide the leg back down towards the ground and bring that right knee in as you come back, just to make sure that it's running in a nice line and you're not going to sort of catch that knee joint or the patella out of alignment as you come down. And you can shake out as best you can without making bump too jiggly in there. I hope you had fun being a tree with me. Namaste.